My name's Jerry Russell. I grew up in the Holston Annual Conference. I began ministry in Holston Annual Conference in the year of 1970. I was appointed as the associate pastor at Second Methodist Church in Knoxville, and after a year in ministry there was ordained an elder. And in 1975, my wife Judy and I took our first overseas appointment. So we served 12 years with the Board of Global Ministries as missionaries, working first of all in Bolivia and having 4 years in Argentina. And during those times we served churches both in the inner city like downtown Knoxville. I served the oldest Methodist church in the Southern Hemisphere, which was First Methodist Church in downtown Buenos Aires on the street called Corrientes. But I spent mostly 25 years at Fairview United Methodist Church in Maryville, Tennessee, seeing the church there grow from a small rural church of 120 members. On coming to my last year at Fairview, we were worshiping near 1,000 persons on a Sunday morning in the 3 worship services that we had. And so my ministry has been involved in the life of the church, both as a missionary and as a pastor, and find that that's one of the great callings on anyone's life, in particular my life, has been to be a pastor of a local church, having served in varieties of local churches. And so it's an honor to be able to share at the Ministers' Convocation and to share out some of my experiences. I retired 3 years ago, and since that time, my wife Judy and I have returned to our first love, and that's missions. Our topic of pain and power is very timely within the struggle that we're having within the United Methodist Church and within the church worldwide. Christianity is struggling with the culture and the changes in culture and norms on all of the different continents. And so it's a timely topic as we move towards the special call general conference that'll take place in St. Louis, really only 3 days following our gathering. And so when we look at the area of pain and of power, we see how we need to handle that with great compassion, great sensitivity, and with the seeking of truth and clarity as we join together in a community, to be a community together. And what a timely moment to take these days and to gather together as the clergy of Holston Conference and to think and pray and to share and to study and to worship together around community that is dealing with pain and community that is trying to handle the power that God has given us to be His church. Well, I'll be approaching this from the sense of biblical passages. I'm basically a biblical preacher, a biblical teacher, and so I'll deal with the suffering of Christ and the call to come follow Christ. Luke 9 talks about denying self, taking up your cross, and following Christ daily. And so I'll be looking at that. I'll be moving back and forth from the Old to the New Testament, of looking at how the community of faith, God's people in their journey, have dealt with the pain that they've felt through slavery, through isolation, through being carried off to Babylon, but also the time of Christ and what the world and the culture that He found Himself in and has taught us, and as we have moved as the church, the United Methodist Church, the children of Mr. Wesley. This is not the first time the church has dealt with the struggle of pain and with the blessing and also the burden of power and decision-making that makes us a community. What is it that unites us? Is it our pain? Is it our power? Or is it the Spirit of Him who is with us, the Holy Spirit, the one whom Christ promised would come? And the church, from its point of pain, of the death and resurrection of Christ to the victory of His coming, pain and power, but more than that, called to be a community, sensitive and caring, and moving together, dealing with the reality of pain and also the reality of power. They're both a stewardship element that Christ has called us to deal with. I look forward to sharing with you and dealing in open and honest dialogue and questioning and worship together around these topics.